So a bit of a windy night. It's not too windy this morning. There's a gorgeous sunrise. Our last night in Key West before we head over to the Bahamas.
And those would be the calmest seas we see for the next 35 hours. I'm Shannon. And that's Tim. And this is Hornblower, our beloved Baba 40 that we spent the last 7 years renovating and is now our home as we sail around the Caribbean. In our last episode, we finally got approval to enter the Bahamas and had what we thought was the perfect weather window to set sail. We knew the seas would be a bit choppy leaving Key West, but they were expected to calm down by mid-afternoon, and we were supposed to have diminishing winds as well. Instead, they increased and we fought 6 to 9 foot seas and winds in excess of 25 knots for almost 24 hours. The actual wind direction varied from the forecast, and we ended up with an additional 7 hours of tacking to clear the lower keys and gain a direct sailable route to Bimini. I had to keep repeating to myself, calm seas never made skilled sailors, over and over. As luck would have it, as soon as land was in sight on the horizon, the wind, as if to tease us, held its breath, and we had to fire up the engine to lumber into Bimini. It took us 10 hours longer than expected to get there, but we finally made it and retreated to the gorgeous clear waters of the Bahamas. We popped into Big Game Marina to clear customs and immigration, had a good night's sleep, did some boat chores the next morning, and then found a cozy anchorage to work on our dinghy and prepare for our next passage over to the Berry Islands. While we didn't spend a lot of time at Bimini, we couldn't help but start to relax, having the passage behind us and being surrounded by the beautiful blue water. We met some new friends at the marina and decided we would buddy boat with them over to the Berry Islands. So we get a good weather window and headed out Sunday morning with a plan to stop at a wreck near Cat Cay on the way for some snorkeling and then anchoring at Mackay Shoal overnight. Lo and behold, another storm blows in. The wind and waves made it too dangerous to stop anywhere near the wreck, so we powered on to Cat Cay and ended up anchoring there for the night. While waiting for the storms to pass, we did a little research on Cat Cay. We found that it's a privately owned island and is run as a private members club. To be considered, you have to be nominated by at least 2 other current members, and just the application fee is $25,000. Luckily for us, anchoring there is free. After an on and off stormy afternoon and night, we woke up to beautiful weather, ready to continue on to the Berries. We had a great sail over to Mackay Shoal. However, we lost our buddy boat along the way. As it turns out, they went to the east side of the shoal and we went to the west. Since we were almost to the north side of Mackay Shoal, we decided to continue on. Elroy, our buddy boat, got a message through to us and said they were headed to Chub Cay, so we headed in that direction. We had quite a ways to go, and it was getting late, so we dropped anchor at the Northwest Passage to the Berry Islands for the night. After checking the weather the next morning, we discovered Tropical Storm Agatha had developed and the forecast called for potential reformation and development in the Gulf. So we changed our plans to head to Great Harbour Cay, which would offer us protection should that happen. Our sail in was eerily calm and the water was so clear we could see the bottom the entire trip. We arrived in Great Harbour Cay and anchored just outside the cut to the marina for several days, keeping an eye on the weather and getting a feel for our surroundings. First up was getting fuel and a few provisions. While Great Harbour Cay is a major island in the Berry Islands, Major is relative, as it only has a population of 353. The grocery store isn't quite what we're used to back home, but they had the basics. Fresh produce is always at the top of our list, and luckily we were there on Wednesday, the day the mail ship comes in with fresh supplies. With our chores out of the way, it was back to the boat to do some snorkeling and fishing. We didn't catch anything that day, but no worries. The fish boat stopped by, and we scored this huge crab and yummy hogfish, which Tim turned into a delicious seafood pasta for dinner and ceviche the next day. The next day, we headed up to Coco Key and had an amazing welcome from some stingrays. We spent the morning snorkeling, seeing lots of fish, and enjoying the crystal clear water. One of our favorites was this grouper, who scooted back and forth between two corals over and over. Another check of the weather showed us that Alex was indeed headed our way, so we moved to the marina where we'd be protected. After getting settled in, we met a few of our new neighbors and attended our first chat and chill. One of the things I like most about the cruising lifestyle is all of the cool people you meet. We found that some of the people there had been cruising for years, while others were just starting out, like us. We even met a couple of ladies who were there on a family trip and hadn't done anything like this before. Not only was the chat and chill a great time for socializing, it also allowed us to gain some valuable info on some of our future destinations. Everyone was so friendly and eager to share what they knew. Alex came through the next day. We had some strong winds and rain most of the day, but being in the protected marina, we got really lucky with our first tropical storm. We awoke the following morning to sunny skies and a beautiful day. The marina had bikes we could use, so we decided to take advantage of it. We headed out to explore the island. The hills were steep and plenty, but it paid off as we discovered amazing views and gorgeous beaches. Our first stop was Sugar Beach Cave. We had the beach to ourselves as Tim jumped in to do some snorkeling and I relaxed in the cool water. The shallow grottos and cool caverns were neat to explore. We really enjoyed our time here and would definitely recommend it. Next stop was Sugar Beach itself. There's a reason they call it Sugar Beach, with white, sugary sand and crystal clear water. We dove in and were surprised to see stingrays, barracuda, and a small coral full of tropical fish. We headed back to the marina for a quick shower to wash off the salt and sand, and then hopped on the bikes again to grab some dinner and drinks with friends at Hammerheads, where I discovered rum and gingers and their delicious conch bites, which are different than conch fritters and so yummy. On our last day in Great Harbor Key, we went for a dinghy ride and decided to check out Shark Creek with Mike and Kelly. We also checked out a wreck and then onto the Blue Hole, which we found but weren't able to see because the water was too murky from Alex. We ran into Otto and Nick in their new dinghy. Their last one got washed from shore into the ocean by one of the frequent afternoon squalls. And we stopped at a small beach to cool off in the water. It was a great way to end our stay here. If you're enjoying our videos, please like and subscribe. We really appreciate your support.